Welcome and welcome back to everyone joining us on Rooted to Thrive, conversations that elevate our humanity podcast. It's your friend, Rochelle, aka Professor P. Now, today we have Dr. Danny or Danielle Martin, who is an academic success coordinator and adjunct associate professor at Temple University. Danny is also the author of Rebel Rights, a platform blending leadership, liberation, and wellness to help people reclaim their voice and power. She's been an educator with 23 years of experience in K 12 and higher education, and is the current president of the Pennsylvania Black Conference on Higher Education, which is an organization that's leading statewide efforts to strengthen belonging, leadership, and cultural competency. Dr. Danny, thank you for agreeing to have this conversation today. How are you doing?
Of course. Thank you so much. I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Can't complain.
Awesome, awesome. Well, listen, before we start our conversation about liberation in leadership, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Wow. Okay. So a little bit about me as I started my career as a first grade teacher. Moved up through middle school, high school, advising, counseling. It was when I was working with the high school students that I began to fall in love with the next, meaning helping students, decide where they were going to spend their next couple of years, whether that was higher education, world of work, military. And so I worked for a program called Gear Up. I don't know if anybody's familiar with that, but gaining early awareness and readiness for undergraduate programs. And then that's when I was like, wow. So when I worked with that program, I ended up having some of my first graders when I
Mm-hmm.
started working with that program as seventh graders, and I was able to follow them to 12th grade. And I ended up leaving that senior year. Oh, they was mad at me. But I moved to the community college, and some of them came to the community college. And
Wow.
it was just like the greatest thing to be able to be a part of a young person's life from 6 years old to
Mm-hmm.
18, 19. So been in education 23 years, both K-12 and higher ed, and spent some time in leadership, spent some time teaching, spent some time counseling, spent some time advising. So kind of have been all over on top of having my own young people.
Yes.
I have my own young people. I have 20-year-old identical twin girls. So, when people ask me about young people, I'm like, I feel like I live and breathe young people, right?
Yes.
Work with young people 9 to 5, and then I come home to them sometimes. But
Yeah,
they're great. I love young people. I'm passionate about helping them grow and helping them find themselves and preparing them for their next.
that is fantastic. And since you started talking about how you got started in this work, I'm real curious about you sharing Rebel Rights and what that platform is all about.
So sure, rebel rights came to me. Sometimes people think when you write a book, you just sit down and write it and it happened,
Mhm.
right? Rebel rights came to me 5 years ago when the world watched, unfortunately, George Floyd and the way that that happened. During that time, I was also in my doctoral program, so it was a lot happening. COVID, George Floyd, everybody is trying to figure out how to just survive in that time period, and then we're being traumatized by what is being shown um, to us. But what I saw during that time was young people who wanted to make a difference and didn't know where to start. And so within that time period, you were seeing the protests and the rise of Black Lives Matter and people just really upset, angry, needing to do, but didn't know what to do. And so I thought about that, and that's where rebel rights came from. And I wanted to develop a tool for not just young leaders, really everybody, but specifically kind of focused on young leaders because that's who I interact with the most. And really just designed I don't want to call it a blueprint because I feel like the blueprint has been laid by our ancestors, right? So I'll call it a roadmap.
Okay.
Um, over time, sometimes directions change and things look different. So I'll call it a roadmap. And this, I'm encouraging readers who come along this journey with me to go through personal change before we help to make the collective change and find liberation within yourself.
Mhm.
Take care of yourself before we help the collective. You also often hear if you fly a lot, you hear the flight attendants say, make sure you put your mask on before you help other people. So
Mhm.
I was really feeling like what type of work needs to be done within ourselves, what type of healing needs to take place in here before I step out and try to help the collective. So
Yes.
this is where so it's a kind of like a hodgepodge of a lot of things, but the George Floyd incident is just something I'll never forget. And I remember just watching the screen like,
Mm.
just watching all the things. So that's where it was birthed and I started writing then.
Yes, wonderful. And I appreciate you sharing that you understand that people have to go through personal change to be effective in collective change. And while every leader would not see themselves as, oh, being a part of the collective, you are leading, therefore influencing other people. You are with other people versus over other people. And maybe
To your
that's
to
where,
your point,
yes, go.
that right there, I,
Go.
I I feel like you should say that again for the people in the back because leadership is nothing more, nothing less than influence.
Mm-hmm,
I
mm-hmm.
think sometimes we get so caught up in the title and, all the things and all the glitz and glamour of leadership. It's influence.
Yes.
So to your point, are you positively influencing others to do, to be a movement?
Mm. Because to those whom much is given,
Much is
much is
required.
required.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
So many of us miss that, right? People think, oh, I'm in leadership, so I get to tell people what to do, and they don't ever check themselves and not realize. I mean, there are people leading all the time. Parents are
Right.
leading, teachers are
Hmm.
leading. They may not see themselves as a leader, but you are leading.
Absolutely. I
Very
absolutely. I'm
critical.
glad you said that too, because I need you to know that you lead from right where you stand, right?
Mhm.
And there's always somebody watching. There's always whether it's on social media, TikTok, whatever, your everyday, there's somebody always watching what you are doing. So, are you operating in integrity? Are you doing the right thing when you think nobody is watching?
Mhm.
What type of example are you setting for someone else who is watching you, who might want to be like you or want to roll in the same circles that you do, like
That's right.
leadership is just is so much and it's critical. And if you look at how we're being led today,
Hmm.
um, it's a little scary in
Yes.
some ways,
Hmm.
so we are leaders right where we stand. We don't have to wait for anybody to stand up and lead us.
That's right. No, we don't. And it's so critical. This conversation is so critical because So many of us think about what we're taught explicitly and not what we caught.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm,
that's
mm-hmm.
that's the work both of us are doing. Both of us are concerned about what's at those roots
Right,
and the
right.
personal you need to do to come out and be your best self.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
your best self can, whatever it is. You,
Your best self can, whatever it is, and your best self is your authentic self. And
yes.
so I think too, where we get caught up sometimes, and specifically in this space with leadership and culturally and DEI and all of
Mhm.
this stuff, we get stuck in being performative. And so,
Mhm.
we perform. We put our mask on, we put our costume on, and we dance to the tune of what sounds right in that particular time period, right? So
That's
going
right.
back to the George Floyd, right? What sounded good at that time? Oh my goodness. We're going to get all the DEI offices. We're going to paint Black Lives Matter on the street. We're going to paint this mural and put it up.
Mhm.
But was anything really changing for the
Mhm.
people who are marginalized or struggling, right? Did anything really change? So fast forward to now
Mhm.
and look at how fast we have we're trying to dismantle and rip those things away and the performance is over,
Mhm.
right? The mask has come off, the costume has come off, and here I am in all my fullness of, for lack of better terms, hot mess.
Yes.
You know
Yes.
what I mean?
Mhm. I do.
Um, and is disheartening. And for us change makers, quite frankly, it's exhausting.
Mm.
And so
Mhm.
we are sometimes, you and I, other educators, first responders, whatever, whoever is operating with emotional fatigue.
Yes. Mm. Yes.
And
Yeah.
so that's why, the book is helpful too, because it's a 90-day walkthrough. What does liberation look like for you? What does that mean?
Mhm.
Let's really talk about what intersectionality means, because sometimes people are afraid of the words intersectionality, DEI, da 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 da. We've put such a negative connotation on these words when really what's missing is the education around these words. And, the more diverse we are, the stronger we are.
Yeah. 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 That's right. And I'm curious because you mentioned that the book is a 90-day walk through what
Mm-hmm.
some of these terms mean to the person that's reading it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I
Mm-hmm.
was curious because you talk about liberation in leadership.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
What role does voice play, especially for people who've been conditioned to stay quiet? Or
Oh, oh, the C word, conditioning, right?
Mm,
And part of why I named this book Rebel Rights, because we need to begin to rebel against unjust systems. And
mm,
sometimes we don't even realize the injustice because of what you just said, the word conditioning.
mm.
Right. We are conditioned now. Now think about it. I'm not sure what generation you're in. I'll put myself out there. I'm a Gen Xer. Okay. When we grew up, you were taught that a child is to be seen and not to be heard. Period. You be, you
Period.
be, you better not interject yourself in this grown conversation, okay? Or you you might be jack smack to the floor, right?
Yes,
Right.
yes,
That we were conditioned to think that. So then you grow up and you're still carrying that,
right.
right? but then sometimes we are upset when people don't communicate.
Mm.
Well, make that make sense. Okay, because part of leadership is communication from both sides.
Hmm.
Um, so I'll go back to myself again. So that's the way I was brought up. And so for me, when I had my own kids, it was important for me to rebel against that and break that cycle. And now I have open dialogue with my daughters. My daughters are able to tell me how you feel. And you know what? I'll go a step further. Tell me how it made you feel when I said what I said.
Okay.
Um, that's leadership too,
Right.
right? There's liberation in learning. There's liberation in having a voice at the table. Why are you at the table if you're not able to voice, right? And so I think the best thing that we can do as leaders is not just invite people to the table, but invite them to speak about their experience.
Okay.
What does that do for you? What does that look like here in the workplace? How are you feeling around XYZ? We don't do that enough. We're so like power structure, and the leader is we're so far from village mentality too, right? That's how we can operate in a village if we're encouraging others to speak up. So when you use your voice, you are pushing pushing back against a system that told you your voice doesn't matter.
Now let's park there for a second. Because as we know, when people work for other organizations, they are working within that system and on behalf of that system. What I'm also hearing you say, though, is that these are people and their voices can contribute in ways, beyond your expectations. But what happens in a system, typically in our United States American society, and likely many other societies, is that the work gets centered, the
Mm,
tasks,
mm-hmm.
not the people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we are trying to meet a benchmark, or we are trying to make it look good, but you lose the people in that.
Right.
There are folks who, right now, as we speak, wherever they are working, do not feel valued, do not feel appreciated because they're talked at rather than talked with. And I don't even want to say
Mhm.
to. They're not
Mhm.
talk. They're not. Nobody's conversing with them about certain things or what they can contribute, or even your feelings. I want to feel safe in the workplace, right? There are folks who, again, Gen Xers, who are just now finding their voice with their parents, with the power structure of within where they work. You know, it took a long time for them to get there, but
Mhm.
we're just now learning advocacy,
Yes.
right? So for me, it's important for me to be somebody I needed when I was a young person.
Yes. Hmm. Yeah. That is so important. And I don't want to lose that point that you made, that there are people who are just learning or unlearning some things that they caught or were explicitly taught in our generations, right?
Hmm.
And so I wanted to stay there for a second because there's a person out there who is just learning, who would not speak up for themselves at work.
Hmm.
I actually was more on the side of speaking up for myself at work. However, I know people who in 2020, when their CEO brought groups of people into their office and said, "Tell me what you're experiencing here." I had people of my generation, our generation, saying, "I was so proud of the young people because they just couldn't do it. It just
Hmm.
would not come out."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They
Mm-hmm.
literally caught stuck in their bodies.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so one of the ways that I teach or encourage folks to get that out is
Mm,
through writing. And
okay.
so going back to rebel rights, whatever you can't say right now, I need you to write down. And so not only is the book a roadmap, but it also provides space within it for you. I'm asking reflective questions, and I
Mm-hmm.
want you to think about certain things, and then I want you to write it down. Because as an educator, if we don't write stuff down and if we don't
Mm-hmm.
create a plan around it, it's most likely it's not going to happen,
Mm,
right? And
yeah.
so one of the things, I'll just give you an example. Here's a reflection prompt. How do you see liberation happening in your school or community?
Mm-hmm.
Are there any barriers that prevent people from achieving true freedom?
Mm-hmm.
How do different groups experience liberation differently? So I'm not looking for a right or wrong answer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking to so you I'm
Mm-hmm.
looking for your wheels to turn,
That's
right?
right.
I'm looking for you to bring that up out of you and get it on paper. So for those who have not found their voice yet this way,
Mhm.
you find your voice through writing. Let's get that out of your body,
Yes.
because the longer you hold that in, that's stress, that's trauma. What's the name of that book? The Body Keeps Score?
Mm.
Then all of that sits in here and creates all type of, you know, health problems, mental health problems. So
Mm-hmm.
let's get that out. Let's find a way to get that out. So in this book, it's through writing, but it could be spoken word, it could be music, whatever it is, it needs to come out of your body so that eventually you are able to stand and advocate for yourself and say,
Right. And to advocate for other people, right?
that's the key.
Okay.
So, and so going back to the book, I want you to learn how to work through some things personally, learn how to advocate for you personally, learn how to, get all of that out of you. And
Mm-hmm.
then now we need to go to the community and let's work on some ways to liberate the community.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Because I know you're using the term community, and I keep thinking, yes, and it works in the workplace. For us,
Absolutely.
workplace is community,
Yeah,
but it may
yeah.
not be for everybody who's listening, right? Like
Right.
when we say community, we mean every space
I mean, every space that you're
you
in. It
in a
it can be
collective.
it
That's
can
right.
be whoever the collective may be to you. It may be some mentors.
Mm-hmm.
I hope everybody who's listening has a mentor. And if you don't, I need you to find one,
Mm-hmm.
right? We were talking before we got on here about networking, right?
Yes.
And we often hear your network is your net worth, right? You need to have at least, I'm just going to say, and I tell my students this, at least three mentors. I have a personal mentor. I have a professional, I have two professional mentors. I have a spiritual mentor. So at, at every for every facet of your life, for every area of your life, you should have a mentor. And that is community. And you know what
Yeah.
that meant? Part of what that mentor is going to do for you? They're going to introduce you to somebody else that can, help you thrive or in this community or help you get the job, whatever it may be. And then you decide what you want that mentorship to look like. Is it a meeting at the coffee shop? Is it once a month? You set the standard
Mm-hmm.
for
Mm-hmm.
what you want that relationship to look like, but that person is a part of your community, your village.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day, we used to say village.
That's right. That's right. And it's coming from our African roots,
Hmm.
right? And so that's why it may not be so common in the workplace lexicon in a Western European, in a Western influenced country,
Yeah,
right?
and for the believers on here, we weren't meant to
Mhm.
do life alone, right?
Hello.
Where when two or three are gathered, right? Come on now,
Yes.
y'all.
Yes.
Amen.
Amen.
We're not to even within finding your own voice and going through your own healing. You're not doing that by yourself.
No, you are not. This is true. There's a level to which we can become more introspective. However, there's a limit.
Mm-hmm.
Other
Mm-hmm.
people have to help us. That,
Right.
that's why we were put here with other people.
Absolutely. And so in this work with
Yes.
these systems, that,
Hmm.
we have to be a collective.
Hmm.
Because when we're, a lot of people use this visual, we're stronger together, when you close the fist. Take a look at what's happening right now with Target and the boycott, right? A little reminiscent of what has happened back in the day with the bus boycott, right? Everybody decided that they were going to get on board with that boycott. And what happened? We ride the bus. That's how you make collectively. It may have started with one individual with the idea, right? Who then got together with some others of the same mindset
Hmm.
and then brought some others to the table. Okay. And then before you knew it was this whole movement that changed history forever.
Yes.
That's the blueprint.
There you go. Be in community.
Be in community. But this is also why I say education
Mhm.
is freedom too, because if you don't know where you come from, you don't know where you're going, and if you don't know that part of history, oof, we in trouble. And
Yes.
history's bound to repeat itself, correct?
Correct.
Here we are.
Hmm.
Here we are with Jim Crow dressed up in a pretty dress. We've been here before.
Yes. And those, I hope somebody is in earshot of this podcast, understanding that there are times when you go, oh, those old folks, they don't know how things are today. We have value. I'm not just saying this because I would be considered older, at
Season, you're
this
not older.
point.
You got some extra
Season.
seasoning. You're not
No,
older.
but I always had respect for what the elders had to teach us.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And we know that, yes, things have changed and we do some things faster, we do some things better,
Hmm.
thankfully, right? Some of us are
Right.
here alive today because we do some things better and faster.
Absolutely. Right.
However, those who came before us, man, had some courage, but also
Hmm.
the odds, the pressure they felt
Absolutely. My God.
was
My
so
God.
was so different in some ways than we feel it today. That's why we don't see people coming to the streets or really stepping back, in my opinion, stepping back to really organize before something happens.
Right. And you know what? Two things I want to say to that.
Mhm.
I'll tell you one thing that ooh, just runs right through me. Kind of makes my skin crawl a little bit when people say, "I'm not my ancestor." I'm always kind of like, um, but you are.
Yes.
And when I say that, I mean you have so much of them in you.
Yes,
You
you
have
do.
so much of that fight in you, right? You don't even know it though.
They have the good, the bad, and the ugly too. Let's keep it real.
You have so much of that in you, and there's
Yes.
nothing wrong with having the good, the bad, and the ugly. You just have to be strategic in how and where and when you use it. Yes, you are your
Yes.
ancestor.
That's right.
Um, so I kind of get like a little low key offended when I hear people say that. And I'm like, oh,
Mm.
ah, and I'm not trying to start no war here on the
Right.
podcast. I'm just telling you. But the second thing I have to say is how teachable and coachable are you?
Mm.
Because we are caught up in a little bit of can't nobody I think that was a song. Can't nobody tell me nothing. Can't nobody tell you nothing. You think that you're self-made.
Mm.
We're caught up a little bit in self. And so
Yes.
if you're caught up in self, you're not looking for the community and you're not looking to learn nothing new, nor are you looking to learn where you came from.
Right. And that is connected, like that interest, that focus on self in a way that you may not be coachable, really is a part of our conditioning as well.
Yeah.
Right? Right? We're in a society, and again, this US context, we're in a society that says that is very individualistic.
hmm
So,
If you
in
think about all the ways that we are conditioned,
yes,
and
mhm,
this is just the couple of ways that we can think of,
that's right.
right? Like, my goodness, that's
It's the
crazy.
It's in the air that we breathe. And so it takes some conscious, intentional work to counter
Intentional.
that.
hmm
Yes. And so when I was saying, I just wanted to clarify that when I was saying that we have the good, the bad, the ugly of our ancestors, we were taught by those people or people who taught them. And
hmm
we also had life experiences that we learned from.
mm
So there's many people who lived in poverty, may not anymore,
mm
however, still have a scarcity mindset.
Yes.
Just as an
Yes.
example,
And mindset is everything.
everything.
If I can get you to believe
Mm-hmm.
that you are not smart, if I can get you to believe that you're not valuable, that you have nothing to offer, that, you don't have a voice, that person then shuts down. The more I tell them that, that's what they believe,
Mm-hmm.
and they shrink.
And how
And
many how many programs, organizations have gotten started so that we can help people unlearn that.
that creates division
Mm-hmm.
too, right? Like, and I just feel like in a way that's where we are too. We have to, we got to break the cycle, and that's for everything.
Mm-hmm. Right, the cycle of division, when you brought that up, I thought about exclusionary behavior.
hmm
Yeah,
hmm And I'm not just talking about breaking the cycle within the Black culture. I'm talking about breaking the cycle everywhere for everybody,
correct.
because it's not just Black and brown who are hurting. I think sometimes we make the mistake of thinking that too. And
Yes.
that's not true.
No,
We have some of our Caucasian brothers and sisters who are living in poverty and are hurting just as much as we are. So
many
why have
are.
many? So why have we not figured out? I guess that's part of my mission here too. Some
Mhm.
way, somehow within community to figure out the how of that and to get us to see again that we're stronger together.
Yes, we are
And we can
stronger
and we
together.
can break down these barriers and knock this system down. And when you knock the system down, then it is for us to look at it, analyze it, learn from it, and then create new systems so that it never happens again.
That's right. That's right. So we've
It takes
talked.
courage,
Mhm.
intentionality, as you said. I'm sorry, I cut you off. Go ahead.
No, no, go ahead. You said courage and intentionality. Was there something else?
No, that's
However,
it. It's, it definitely takes those two at least.
at least I would agree. Well, we've talked about voice. We've talked a little bit about story and using your voice to share your story, asking for people's stories, bringing that into the collective. And we talked,
Storytelling is so powerful,
okay, come on, let's go.
right? Like
Yes, it
again,
is.
going back to where we come from, thinking about our ancestors, it was illegal for us to learn how to read,
Mhm,
right? How did they know where they came from? Someone told them a story. You
mhm,
keep that story with you. That's how you appreciate who you are and your culture. And think about all the things that have happened in your family. There's a story, right? Somebody got a story about Uncle Bob, or when Granny and Pop Pop got married. Like all of those things, those are valuable stories. We can learn from those stories. We know what to do and maybe what not to do based off of the story that's being shared. And when you come into classrooms or leaders, when you're with your employees, or just whatever setting you're in, is so important for stories to be told, and to be able to have and appreciate diverse stories.
mhm. Well, it's interesting. You know what's so interesting to me? I mean, we have a culture that is very focused on entertainment, right? Like this movies and, television, all of the things, which is used as a pastime for many, 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 many people, right? They're just telling stories. So we're
That's it.
captive and we're literally learning from them.
Mm-hmm. 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 That's it. Music. Everybody loves Beyonce and the Beehive. She's telling you a story through music.
That's right. However, we don't really grasp the power of it. That those stories raise us. They
Mm-hmm.
teach us how to operate, like you mentioned, right? So even in an organization that feels like it doesn't have a face, the face is all of those faces that come through that space,
Absolutely.
right? Like
Mm-hmm.
together on a singular mission, right? The organization has a mission
Mm-hmm.
and everybody has a role in it. One of the what happens when you first come to an organization, right? There's someone that's giving you the history. There's somebody who still has their job because they have the history.
Right. Yep. 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 And then sometimes you have stories in common.
Yes.
And it's like,
Mhm.
oh wow, I didn't know. So you and I, our story, we have Dr. Jackson in common in our
Mhm.
story. Wow. You know, we miss that sometimes too, but that's where we can appreciate each other. Oh, wow. And that's where in the book, when we talk about intersectionality, we have more in common than we think we do, than we think we do.
Exactly.
Sometimes we get so hung up on black and white, and I understand that. And unfortunately, it is, was woven into the fabric of the birth of this nation.
Yeah.
You know, I there's no way we're going to get away from that until
Mhm.
we acknowledge that and then begin to treat the wound. But we have more in common than we think we do. And going back to your C word of conditioning, we were conditioned to believe that we don't.
Right.
So again, it's us rebelling. When people hear the word rebel or rebel, again, it has a negative spin on it. And I am teaching young adults and whomever, um, that rebelling against the system can be a positive thing, right? Like resting, like
Yes.
we mentioned, just emotionally fatigue, being
Yes.
fatigued right now. Well, the way that you rebel against the system is to rest.
That's right.
But you got to get your rest if you're going to fight against this every day, right? In our shoes, we
Mm-hmm.
tired, right?
And otherwise, you actually don't. I don't know. like you're giving your power to that system if you don't rest.
So if we you think about that, and then you think about how we're conditioned um to the hustle and grind culture. Oh, late nights, early mornings. Yeah, honey, go lay down.
Take a nap.
Okay? If you don't go take a nap somewhere, because I and my girlfriend laughs at me because one thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna eat and I'm gonna sleep.
Okay.
Okay? Because your body needs you need to be recharged.
Hmm.
So how are you recharging? And there's a section in my book that talks about burnout, the
Hmm.
prevention of burnout and self-care, making sure you're taking care of yourself in this work because it can wear you down.
Yeah. Yeah. And just take care of yourself in general,
Just in
right?
general.
In whatever work you're doing.
Self-care is protecting your peace.
That,
Self-care is, I'm gonna tell you something I do every night. At 9 o'clock, my phone goes on, do not disturb.
okay.
And can't nobody reach me unless it's specific, my kids or specific family members
Hmm.
until the next day at 9 o'clock in the morning. Because
Hmm.
you need to calm down from that. That's my way of honoring myself and my boundaries and taking care of me,
Hmm.
right? I tell my kids, turn your phone off before you go to bed.
Yes. Okay.
Why, Mom? Because why is it binging and dinging?
Hmm.
Take care of yourself. Get your rest. And rest is part of rebelling against the system. You know what else is?
What else?
Joy.
Yes.
The world didn't give it to you,
And the world
and the
can.
world can't take it from you. And so some folks do not like to see us happy.
Mm-hmm.
We're rebelling against that because there is always something to be joyful and grateful about.
Hmm. Yes, indeed. Wow, wow, wow. This conversation went in so many wonderful directions. I'm loving it. And you hit on everything that I wanted to talk about. Well, I would say mostly everything. I wanted to get in the cracks and crevices for a moment because I'm also thinking about authentic community and collective care. Or some other people might call it community
Mm.
care. And I was curious, what practices help leaders hold high accountability and high compassion?
That's a good question. I think for me, the spaces
Mhm.
that I've been in, or have led in, I lead with empathy and humanity. Um, and I'm so intentional about that right now because that's not even a thing right now, which is just so sad. So I'm leading with, or at least in my thinking, sometimes when I'm also planning something for somebody or a group,
Mhm.
how's that making them feel?
Mm.
Who is this helping? Um, or even when I'm in conversation, I like to involve young people in conversation a lot, and I will ask them many reflective questions. Who is this? What we're talking about? Who is this helping or harming?
Mhm.
Um, and then there's conversation around that. But when I can get into your feelings and how you're feeling and what the emotion is behind it, um, it's kind of a little bit easier for me to hold you accountable because then I'm asking you not to just think about how you felt about whatever it was. How do you think that other person felt when you did that?
Right. Mhm.
So I think for me, I lead with empathy and humanity because it's not seen often. I'm teaching leaders, how to pause, how to listen, because some we don't be listening. We are not. we because we're trained to hear, to respond,
Right.
we're not always listening. So I'm teaching leaders how to pause and listen and believe people when they say what they need.
Yeah.
Believe them. You don't, they don't, who are you? They don't have to run nothing by you when they're expressing how they feel, or when something has happened for them. You're not the end all be all. Believe them,
Right.
you know. Um, I, I also think making transparency and communication, you have to make those non-negotiable.
Hmm. Okay.
Because you're not, then you won't get anywhere if you don't have any communication. And then if I'm leading, how are people supposed to believe me or trust me if I'm not transparent? I want to also build systems that make belonging the norm,
Yes.
not a
Yes.
bonus and not a performative action.
And I don't know any other way to get there for belonging to be the norm without you asking the people.
So you have to be able, so with the transparency and community, I have to
Mhm.
be able to speak with you, pull you in. I have to value and appreciate and respect your story, your lived experience. Because I'm Dr. Danny, people are always trying to give me like a scholar. They're looking for like a scholarly book response from me. No, I don't have it. I don't have the theory. I'm coming from lived experience.
Yes.
And
That's right.
I want that from the team of people that I'm leading.
Mhm.
That helps build so much,
That's
you
right.
know. And so that's what's going to get me that belonging. That's what's going to
Mhm.
make that feel normalized. And then for the naysayers, when they start to feel good, it's like, oh snap, I'm valued here. Dr. Danny asked me how I'm feeling today. I don't know how I should respond to that. Oh, she asks me that every day. Oh, then the walls start to fall down and we
Mhm.
start to story tell the exchange. And then I'm recognizing we got a whole lot more in common. So it is a constant, whether it's conscious or unconscious for us, it's a constant breaking down walls.
Yes.
And once I break down the wall, I can educate you and I can learn something new too. And then the collective benefits.
Right, Dr. Danny, I hear you. Well, listen, this has been a master class
Oh,
but really, literally in finding liberation in your leadership. I heard you say these are some of the practical things that I took away, and I want you to think if I've missed anything to please share with us. So I hear that to be liberated, right, and to be a liberated leader or on that journey, that we have to learn, we have to be open to learning
hmm
and understand that we have a voice and others we serve have a voice.
hmm
So even as a leader who has employees, in my opinion, those are people you serve.
absolutely.
Okay. Yes. And then you shared that we should invite people to voice their stories.
hmm
That's how villages operate.
Yep.
And be self reflective, introspective, and where you can't say it, write it.
Yeah.
Use some tool
hmm
to get it out of your body, out of your head, out of your body. Spoken word, music, I'm sure exercise. There are many,
Yes.
many different ways
hmm
people use to introspect. I think for both of us, writing is a wonderful tool.
Yes.
and many people, it is a wonderful tool. Oftentimes we are taught in order to, follow any framework or blueprint is to write it down. Or,
Hmm.
we talk about goal setting, that the
Hmm.
first thing you do is you write it, right?
Yep.
One, you have to get it out of your head.
Absolutely.
So you can see it
Absolutely.
clearly.
Yep.
That's the bottom line. However,
A,
you
a goal without a plan is just a wish.
is a wish. That's right. And often you can't have a whole plan locked up in here. Not a
You're
clear
gonna
one.
forget. You're gonna
Not a clear
forget.
one. That's right. Exactly. And let me see what other practices that I know. Well, this, when we were talking about high accountability and high compassion, you said lead with empathy and humanity as a priority.
Hmm.
You have to be intentional about it and ask yourself of those experiences, those policies that you're creating. You could even think in terms of like a meeting you're about to have with employees. Ask yourself, how is this experience or this decision making people feel?
Yes.
And in conversation, you might ask people, how is this decision, policy, whatever, how is it helping or harming? I would
Hmm.
I believe you said ask yourself that first, but you can also ask your people, your community as well.
Yes. Hmm.
It's like not even can, but I would dare say we should.
You should do it.
Because it's
Do it.
not a well-informed decision or policy that affects other people without their voice. There it is.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. And
right?
if I can add anything to this,
Mm-hmm.
be a lifelong learner. Education is everything. And so
Mhm.
we're seeing right now where now some degrees are not considered professional anymore, and education is one of them. We're watching the dismantling of the Department of Education. This is all scary. So essentially, we're watching education curriculums being pulled. This is why storytelling is important. This is why you need to learn all that you can learn. I need you to be a student, a forever student, right? Education should liberate, not silence.
That's right.
So if I could add anything, I would add that, and that goes for the highest leader at the top. Educating your people, your team, whomever should liberate them and you, never silence anybody.
Hmm. Exactly. Well, Dr. Danny, this has been powerful. Thank you so much. Are there any resources that you recommend for further learning in addition to Rebel Rights? No, like I need my copy. Do I get a copy? Oh,
Yes, yeah. You said you can send me your address
all right.
and
Thank you very much.
I will send you a copy.
Oh,
And I'll sign it for you.
oh, thank you, dear. Thank
In
you.
terms of resources,
Mhm.
I would say anything that is going to help develop you and let you make you or challenge you to learn something new, whether that's about a system or yourself. So, anything by Audre Lorde. There is a book on leadership and belonging called The Person You Mean to Be,
Mm.
or Belonging by Jeffrey Cohen. You can take a look at that. Anything equity centered, by Dina Simmons. That's a good one. Bettina Love,
Yes.
So while you're scrolling on social media, look up some of those names. Let's change your algorithm. Let's get
There
away
you
from
go.
doom scrolling and start to look for things that are going to educate and develop and build you up.
Yes, indeed. Well, Dr. Danny, thank you so very much. How can people find you after this episode?
Thank you. You can find me on Instagram at Danny, DaniMartinEDD. So at Danny Martin EDD. I'm on LinkedIn as Danielle Martin, and I'm on Facebook as Danny Martin, EDD. So yeah, come find me. Let's connect.
Excellent. Thank you so very much. Thank you for pouring so much wisdom into this space today.
Thank you
Yes,
for having me.
what you've offered reminds us that liberation in leadership is daily work. It's the courage to use your own voice, honor our stories, protect our wellness, and
Every
build,
day.
yes, and build cultures that free people instead of shrink them.
Yes. Th- That was perfectly said. Yes. That,
Okay.
y'all, all of that.
And I would say to everyone listening, take one strategy you heard today, put it into practice this week. Small shifts create liberating spaces, first in yourself and in your community. And until next time, lead with clarity, care, and conviction. Thank you all for stopping by and listening to the end. And if you haven't already, you know what to do. Subscribe and share this episode. I deeply, deeply, deeply appreciate you all. And I'll be here next time, waiting to welcome you back for the next episode of Rooted to Thrive.